The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. W's products are made in the USA in an FDA inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom made by W, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. W's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/mrtipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. W Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Tuesday morning. Shout out to everyone that is tuned in on today's show, whether you're doing that over on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on X, and of course on Roku via National Streaming Sports. Shout out to you for being a part of today's proceedings, the show, all the fun stuff that we have planned for you here today. Of course, we are live on Roku with our friends over at National Streaming Sports. They got a whole bunch of stuff going on over at National Streaming Sports. You got Mac and Jack in the mornings, of course. And then every Wednesday, you got the National Professional Sports Show, a whole plethora of just different people and different ideas and all the fun stuff that goes on in the world of sports that you can find over at National Streaming Sports. Of course, the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, we're brought to you by our friends over at RevAutoCarCare.com. That's RevAutoCarCare.com. Use promo code Mr. Tipton33 and save up to 15%. If you didn't get to watch Bob, Jim, and Pat get drunk on the internet on Saturday night as we were watching Bad Wrestling and celebrating 316 Day, scaffold matches is mainly what we got to watch that day. If you didn't watch, then you didn't get to see Pat, a guy that I've known for the better part of a decade now, who we've done Bob, Jim, and Pat Get Drunk on the Internet. It'll be 5 years now in October, and we've always just spoken about podcasting and doing a whole bunch of stuff. We worked together over at ESPN, and he finally found the origins of the MR Tipton 33. He'd had no clue what or where it came from, despite the fact that it is my name, Michael Robert Tipton. Had no idea that that's where it came from. Nonetheless, it's okay. It doesn't hurt that much. It just hurts a little bit whenever my friends have no idea what my name is, but it's okay. It's all right. Where we move on, and we're better human beings for it in the long run. At least that's what they say. So yesterday, or I guess earlier today, as my guy Tommy Carranza tunes into the show, saying good morning, Tip. Good morning to you, Tommy. Hope that you were doing well. Remember, if you're liking what you hear, even if you don't like what you hear, just share it. Maybe you'll piss other people off. Maybe that'll be a fun thing that people out there can start doing for the show. Now, this morning, Major League Baseball had the first pitch of the season, and again, it's in Tokyo. It's a series between the Cubs and the Dodgers. Started at, I want to say, 3:00 in the morning here in El Paso, and was done before I even got ready to do the show. The first game of the season already done, as Yamamoto goes 5 innings for the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani has 2 hits and scored twice, and the Dodgers beat the Cubs 4-1 in the season opener in the Tokyo Dome. And I have to sit back and I wonder to myself, if nobody is able to watch, because this is what, a 5:00 start in the morning on the East Coast, 4:00 Central Time, 3:00 Mountain Time, 2:00 in the morning Pacific Time, and I might be off by an hour, maybe it started an hour later. Nonetheless, the time frames still track. No one's getting up to watch those games for Major League Baseball. And I get it. You have huge stars in Yamamoto and Ohtani and the Imanaga from the Cubs. Huge Japanese stars. So you're placating to the Japanese audience. I 100% get that, right? But you're going to have this series end by, I want to say, Thursday. And they come back to the United States, the Cubs and the Dodgers. They complete spring training. And then a week after that, begin the remainder of their regular season. Why? Just simply why? What is the purpose for this? I get that, yeah, you have a huge audience in Japan, but your Major League Baseball, where you want eyes and ratings for your first game of the year to be here in the United States, right? Like I feel like I'm sounding like a person I don't want to sound like. But at the end of the day, it's about what happens here in the United States. Like, I don't get why you would want to, I guess, in some portions, alienate some of the audience and stuff like that. Linda McGrath saying they sent me the first day of show schedules. Hope I have a good show. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Going to be trying to do much more with National Streaming Sports, as we're trying to do so much to just help out our friends over there. They give me a platform, so my way of showing love is to try to give them love back. Looking for sponsorships, national sponsorships, all kinds of fun stuff that happens with this side of the broadcasting things. Okay, so I asked the question, if a baseball game kicks off the season and it happens in Japan and no one's there to watch it, does it really start the season? And of course, obviously, the answer is going to be yes, right? It's the same thing. If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, does it make a sound? Of course it makes a sound. But it's just one of those things for me where it's like, okay, Major League Baseball, I get what you're trying to do. Expansion is where it's all at right now, right? Especially with the NFL, especially with the NBA, and now especially with Major League Baseball. I'm one of the few people that, like, I get amped for opening day, and I knew if the game's going to be at 4:00 in the morning here in El Paso, I'm not watching that game. And it sucks because I can only imagine maybe if I was living in Alaska at the time, right? I'm closer to the Japanese time frame of when this is going to happen. 2 hours behind here in El Paso. I could have been like drinking at the bar celebrating St. Patrick's Day and then maybe going to a baseball game and then get some really, really, really good sleep that comes out of that Major League Baseball game. Good morning to you, Oli. Hope that you are having a fantastic day here today on this Tuesday. Hopefully not everyone is too hungover. I saw some of the shenanigans, man. I was thinking about that, like, man, I don't know if I'd be able to go out and drink on a Monday. And then I got off my high horse and realized I'm a borderline alcoholic. Of course I would be going out and drinking on a Monday. But my responsibility is to you, the people that tune into the show, the thousands and thousands, the multitudes that tune into the show just simply to watch me. Only me. I can't be that cocky. But I'm excited for the remainder of Major League Baseball season. My guy Danny Hoban and I, we will be going to Phoenix here shortly to cover opening day for the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's going to be a fun time for us as we move forward. Now, yesterday, part of the conversation was here on the show was talking about the NFL draft and the possibility of Ole Miss's Jackson Dart moving into the first round. And it seems like Mel Kiper Jr. might have been listening to the show. Tommy Canazza saying he was asleep by 9:30 p.m. last night. Jesus, guy. That is some old guy stuff. Now, I know I'm not the only person that has to deal with these types of things. I'm trying to see because I can see people are tuned in over on Instagram, but I cannot see who's tuned in over on Instagram. But it's okay. Nonetheless, that's all right. If you're on Instagram speaking into the abyss, I apologize. But Tommy Canazza saying he was asleep by 9:30 last night. That was like my idea. I was like, I'm gonna go to bed early. I want to make sure I'm good to go. I'm feeling good. I fell asleep at about 2:00 in the morning. Woke up at about 6:30, and here I am doing this. And I do feel good. Obviously, it's fueled by a ton of coffee and W energy drinks. And you know the reason why I do W is because it doesn't give me all the jitters and stuff that I get from all the other energy drinks. That's a hell of a sell job right there, Tip. Good job. Good job, Tippy. But not really. But yeah, like that's always the goal for me is like maybe I can go to sleep earlier, and I just never do. And it always feels like whenever I feel like I'm ready to go to bed, I just don't. Right? Like that's where I wind up being is I just don't fall asleep. But Jackson Dart moving into the first round of the NFL draft, according to Mel Kiper Jr., who is one of the big time draft analysts that are out there. It goes back to what I said yesterday. Any team is going to, especially in the first round, late in the first round, would be okay reaching for a quarterback. I don't see Jackson Dart, though he has a great name for a quarterback. I don't see Jackson Dart being the kind of guy that winds up being like your franchise quarterback. Like I see him built in the Cooper Rush type of mold of, yeah, he'll get you a couple of wins here and there. He'll be a solid backup. Baltimore having Cooper Rush, that makes me sad as a Dallas Cowboys fan, but good for him. Get your money, my guy. I just don't know if I'm reaching for a quarterback at that position. You know what I mean? Like it seems like it's not a winning proposition for me. And I look at the teams that are there with Philadelphia, with Kansas City, Buffalo, Washington, Detroit, Baltimore, the Rams, Houston, Minnesota, Green Bay, the Chargers. 32-22, they don't need a quarterback. Maybe Pittsburgh needs a quarterback, but I feel like if you're stretching for a quarterback like Jackson Dart, who had a mid-second round grade, if you're drafting him at 21 to Pittsburgh, I think that's a huge mistake. Again, I'd love to see it because I feel like it's a waste of a draft pick. I'd love to see it for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I just don't see any of those teams. Any of the Chargers don't need a guy. They got a young quarterback. Green Bay has a young quarterback. Minnesota, they already drafted their quarterback of the future last year. Maybe they bring in Aaron Rodgers and he gets to complete his full-on Brett Favre transformation outside of sending pictures of his genitalia to journalists. But there's still time. Aaron Rodgers, is still time for you to become that terrible, terrible human being. Houston, they have C.J. Stroud. Maybe the Rams, are they ready to move on from Matt Stafford? Maybe that'll be the place that someone like Jackson Dart goes. Baltimore's not going to do it. Detroit's not going to do it. Washington isn't going to do it. Buffalo's not going to do it. Kansas City, Philadelphia, they're not going to do it. And even so, if I'm the Rams, I don't think that drafting Jackson Dart in the first round is a great idea. Like that's someone I think you can get late second round, mid third round. Tommy Cananza saying, I hope nobody reaches for Dart. I was hoping the Cowboys could take a flyer on him in the third or the fourth round. Exactly, right? Like that's kind of where you want to draft him. Let's draft him late in the draft, midway through the draft, third round, fourth round maybe. And let him be the guy that sits behind the starter, like learns the game, starts learning all these things, getting better at football. I don't think Jackson Dart is like a day one starter, and that's kind of what you want or need from your first round quarterback. Someone that can just step in at any moment and take the reins. That's what you want out of your first round quarterback. Jackson Dart being drafted in the first round, I feel like that would be a huge hit to whatever team takes him, because I just don't think that he's ready. I know that sounds like blasphemous, but I just don't think that he's ready. All right. I am going to bring up the free agent tracker here. We'll see what free agents are still available, who can go where. All right, so now that I got that up, which, hey-yo, phrasing, maybe. You got Aaron Rodgers still out there, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Von Miller, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson. They have him on here twice for some strange reason. Cam Robinson, Brandon Sheriff, Tyler Lockett. You got a couple of people out there that could find a home, right? And the question that's been out there that's been kind of surrounding this whole thing has been Aaron Rodgers. What is Aaron Rodgers going to do? We saw that there was intrigue from the New York Giants, which I'm all about. A-Rod, you want to go to the Giants? Go ahead and go to the Giants. I don't think that they're going to be a good enough team for a contender, and I genuinely feel like Aaron Rodgers is ring chasing right now, right? No one can blame him. This late in his career, it's all about trying to get those rings, padding your own individual stats, kind of like what he did at the end of the season. It was a lot of empty calories that Aaron Rodgers was eating on last year at the end of the season, playing in games that nobody cared about, even especially on the New York Jets. There's ties there. Does he stay in New York? Does he go to Pittsburgh? I think it would be a huge train wreck, but I would be there watching it all day long, because that's what we do with train wrecks. We just watch the train wreck, hoping to see some sort of chaos, right? That's what we would get out of Aaron Rodgers teaming up with DK Metcalf, teaming up with George Pickens. Again, in my veins, give it to me, feed my addiction of I just want to see as much drama as possible on the sidelines when it comes into regard of Aaron Rodgers and what he brings to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think it's incrementally better or exponentially better than what you get right now with Russell Wilson. I think it's actually a step back. I think it hurts your team further along in the future. But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and that's the route you want to go, by all means, go that route. And then there's talk, again, as I mentioned, of Aaron Rodgers completing the full Brett Favre circle, the Favrean circle of going to the Minnesota Vikings. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, that's the team that I want to go to. The only issue is, what do you get out of it if you're Minnesota? What version of Aaron Rodgers are you getting? Are you going to get a guy that's going to go in and keep talking about doing ayahuasca, and I don't want to show up to OTAs, and I don't want to practice with the team, and I just want to be Aaron Rodgers and F everybody else? What version of Aaron Rodgers are you going to be getting if you're the Minnesota Vikings and you're taking a flyer on this guy? Is he going to be willing to coach up J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback that you drafted last year? Is Aaron Rodgers willing to say, okay, I'll let go of the reins in a year or so and allow the kid to take over? I just want to try to chase my ring because I have a talented staff around me, right? When you got Jordan Addison, when you got Justin Jefferson, when you have Aaron Jones on your team. But don't forget that Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay because he thought Aaron Jones wasn't good enough to get them where he needed to be. So is Aaron Rodgers going to show up to the Vikings and just say, I need Alan Lazard, I need Randall Cobb, I need this, I need that, I need blah, 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 blah. And the main answer to this question is that you just don't know, right? Like, you don't know what you're going to get with Aaron Rodgers, but I can say that you can guarantee that there's no way in hell that Aaron Rodgers is near as good or worth the headache that you're going to ultimately get out of him just because he is kind of a jerk, right? Like you know that's what's going to be. You know, just based off of his history, who Aaron Rodgers is as a human being, as a person, as a teammate. Why would you take a flyer on that? If I'm Aaron Rodgers, obviously that's the place I want to be. That's a team that has a great shot of winning. But what happens if you go to Minnesota, who won 14 games this year with Sam Darnold, and you don't make double-digit wins? Because I just feel like they're not going to be that team. They got very lucky this year. They also were very snake-bit, losing to two teams all season long, just happened to be at the worst possible time. What happens whenever it's not as easy as Aaron Rodgers thinks it's going to be? Because the NFC North is going to be a tough division. Chicago, exponentially better with all the things that they did in free agency. I want to go to the Chicago Bears and see all of the players that they signed. All the players that they traded for. I need to find all the transactions. This wasn't something that I was thinking about talking about today. There we go. So you look at all the things the Bears have done, right? Like they've been focusing on their offensive line. They got Joe Thuney from Kansas City. They go out, they get Jonah Jackson as well from the LA Rams, right? Like they're trying to make sure their offensive line is better to protect Caleb Williams, who I said last year was not last year, but I said earlier this year, his first season wasn't as far from Jaden Daniels as people thought, right? Like the two teams, obviously, as far on the spectrum as you can get away from each other, as far apart on the spectrum as you can get away from each other. But the Bears are going out, they're spending a ton of money. They go out and they sign people to help out their offensive line, to help out their defensive line. They go and they get Olamide Zaccheaus. They sign Durham Smythe from the Miami Dolphins. They're doing the things that they need to do to get depth, to get weapons, because they did lose Keenan Allen, who I think was a great safety net for Caleb Williams. And then obviously where the Bears are drafting right now, early in the draft, number 10. Let's go back to the mock draft. Let's see where they have the Bears drafting at here in the mock draft. I'm just waiting for the computer to catch up to me. Hoping I'm still on air. There we are. They have the Bears addressing the offensive line, taking Will Campbell out of LSU. But I also would not be surprised if I see them take a wide receiver at this point, right? Like Tommy and I were talking about it. Whenever you got McMillan, and a lot of teams not necessarily sold on McMillan, there's a possibility he could slide down, right? If McMillan is there, you draft him. McMillan, Roma Dunze, you try to give your young quarterback weapons that he can throw the ball to, that you could actually build an entire franchise around. Spend the free agent money on the offensive line and the defensive line, just like you've been doing. You got a new head coach in Ben Johnson, who, for all intents and purposes, we can say might be the person responsible for the success of the Detroit Lions over the last couple of years. The Chicago Bears are going to be better. Green Bay, always in the playoff picture. Detroit, maybe they take a step back, But I don't see how you say Detroit doesn't win that division. What magic did Minnesota have last year that they're not going to have this upcoming season? Winning a ton of one-score games. It always, always, always balances out. Tommy's saying, don't tell the Bears that, Tip. Don't tell them that. Maybe that's why I'm factoring in hope, right? Maybe that's where I'm at right now. Or not to draft McMillan. I know I want the Cowboys to. You've kind of convinced me. I think I'm all over the place when it comes to the Cowboys. They make me super bipolar. If you saw what I put out on Instagram yesterday, I was watching wrestling, of course. John Cena coming out. Not coming out, but turning heel. Wow. I got to really work on the phrasing here. Also, I apologize if people are making comments over on Instagram. Nothing's coming through right now. I can see that there's viewers. I just can't see who's viewing, who's doing what. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't see anything. Maybe that's something that we've got to work on for the Instagram stream. But if you saw what I put out on Instagram at Mr. Tipton 33, you saw once again what the Dallas Cowboys do to me. Go check that out. I'll share it out on my other social medias as well. But man, this team. And I like what Chicago has done. I genuinely like what the Chicago Bears have done. I think that when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and what the next step is for Aaron Rodgers, what the next step is in this evolution, I still genuinely don't understand how this man can say that he can hold other teams hostage. The market for Aaron Rodgers has to be so de minimis that he's even lucky to get looked at right now. Because if I'm Minnesota, all right, and let's go back to the free agents here. We will find what quarterbacks are still available, right? If I'm Minnesota, is there a huge drop-off? And I'm not talking about Aaron Rodgers in the past. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers today versus Jameis Winston versus Russell Wilson, right? Like those are other guys that you can get out there. Or maybe you want to take a flyer on a Joe Flacco, right? Like just that quarterback to help get you. You don't want to give him a long-term deal, but just that quarterback to get you and teach your young rookie quarterback who's no longer a rookie, so it's going to be a second year, but your young quarterback who was on the bench, who was supposed to be the starter last year, got injured, Sam Darnold takes over. Is there a huge difference between Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, and Russell Westbrook? Do you need the drama that comes with you if you're Minnesota that comes with signing Aaron Rodgers? Do you need that? Do you need to introduce that into your locker room? And I know it sounds blasphemous to say that about a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who's a Hall of Fame quarterback. But I don't see a huge difference with it. And if Pittsburgh doesn't want Russell Wilson, then you sign Russell Wilson. I still think Jameis Winston, if you have those weapons for a guy like Jameis Winston, he's a good quarterback. He'll get you to the playoffs. Do you win a Super Bowl with him? Maybe not, because we saw that the biggest difference in Tampa Bay after they got rid of Jameis Winston was we get rid of Jameis Winston, we sign in the greatest quarterback of all time, we win a Super Bowl. Back-to-back years, Jameis Winston goes 30, and 5,000. Tom Brady comes in, doesn't throw 30 interceptions. The Bucks win a Super Bowl. Tommy Canonsa saying, I think that Rodgers is still better than Winston or Flacco right now. I'd take Russell Wilson over Rodgers, but not Winston or Flacco. And I get that, right? Like I can see why people would say that. For me, though, all of the other things that you bring in with Aaron Rodgers, all of the drama, all of the BS, all of the outside noise that you welcome into your locker room with Aaron Rodgers, is it worth that? Is it worth the possibility of this is still a young-ish team, right? This is still a team that should have some level of expectation. Is it worth bringing in what surrounds Aaron Rodgers? Because you already know the Jets gave him the ultimatum of, if you want to stay on this team, you got to stop doing McAfee all the time. You got to stop doing all the weird nonsense, all the auxiliary stuff in the background. If you want to stay on this team, if you want to continue to make a living in the NFL, this is what you have to do. We saw that Aaron Rodgers puts more of a premium on that than he does his actual career. That the thing that's more important to him is the fact that he gets to go out and be the guy that's on McAfee, that he gets to go out and be all of that stuff. Maybe you think if you were willing to let Sam Darnold go, just walk away, maybe you've seen something from J.J. McCarthy that the rest of us can't see. Or maybe you see what I saw, which is if this team is good enough to make Sam Darnold look that good, then this team is going to be good enough to make any quarterback look that good, right? A lot of the times we see teams where it's the quarterback that elevates everybody else. It's a real possibility with Minnesota that the Vikings team, the Vikings offense, lifts whatever quarterback is there. So if you bring in a Jameis Winston, hell, I think I even saw rumors about Carson Wentz being someone that the Vikings were interested in. You bring in Carson Wentz, and any quarterback I feel in that system is going to be a level of successful. It's going to be very hard to be a bad quarterback with those weapons in Minnesota. So why would you bring in Aaron Rodgers? What does Aaron Rodgers give you over what you may already have, and what else is out there in free agency other than the headache that he's going to be giving you because he's Aaron Rodgers and he's kind of a diva? And you can't even say kind of a diva. Tommy Canazza saying, if I'm the Vikings and they are still competing for the division, I would take a chance on Rodgers rather than going with J.J. McCarthy. But we saw that. We saw that last year, right? Tommy Canazza goes on to say Kevin O'Connell is supposedly a quarterback guru. I love whenever we hear those things, right? Like, oh, this guy, he's a quarterback whisperer. What do you tell the quarterback whenever you're whispering to them? Make sure you throw touchdown passes. That's what I really need you to do. Don't throw interceptions. Don't fumble the ball. Throw touchdown passes. Then you'll be very successful. I feel like that's always the thing that they say as a quarterback whisperer, right? But we saw, if we're competing for a division, Brandon the Iceman Cohn, I got nothing but love for you. And I'm listening to all the pundits that are out there on ESPN radio, and obviously ESPN radio, very close to the Jets, a lot of Jets fans in Bristol, Connecticut. A lot of these people are saying with Aaron Rodgers coming back healthy, with the changes that the Jets made to the offensive line, with the talent that they have, this should be a team that contends for the division title, because we all thought Buffalo losing Stephon Diggs was going to make Buffalo take a step back. I didn't think it. I thought Buffalo was still the best team in that division. But the Jets were supposed to compete. The Jets had, for all intents and purposes, a very healthy team. And they have a good running game with Breece Hall. Like they have a good team. They had a good defense last year. The only issue with them is it seemed like that team wasn't on the same page. They weren't where they were supposed to be mentally. And I feel like that has a lot to do with the drama that surrounds Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers shows up to the team. He misses all the practices. He misses this. He misses that. That causes issues with people. Hell, the Jets were better last year or the year prior with Zach Wilson than they were with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. That's a hard thing to wrap your mind around. And if they weren't better, it was almost the same production for the beginning part of the season. Then the Jets get knocked out of the playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers has a good end of the season by doing nothing but targeting Devontae Adams 25 times a game to just spam him, and they both get yards and receptions and all kinds of stuff. All the games at the end of the season for the Jets were a bunch of empty calories. We're not playing meaningful games. Teams don't care if they lose to us. If we win, it doesn't mean anything. Let's just spam each other, and hopefully we have good stats at the end of the year. That's what Aaron Rodgers' season went to last year. This was a team that was supposed to compete for a division title. Obviously, the Bills are head and shoulders the best team in that division. But who's to say that if the team is competing for a division title, that Aaron Rodgers is the guy that's going to get you over the hump? And I agree, Tommy. I think the NFC North is going to be extremely interesting to watch because I think Detroit, the losses that Detroit has, that's a major step back for them. Minnesota, maybe they, like, obviously, I don't think Minnesota is going to win 14 games. I don't think Minnesota is going to be the team that continues to do the stuff that they did where they win 14 games, become the team and like the first team in NFL history to have that many wins without winning your division. I don't think that that's what Minnesota is going to do. They're going to take a step back. Does Green Bay take a step forward? They're a double-digit win team as well, right? Chicago, I already believe that they're going to be better. They cannot be much worse than what they were. And we're talking about a team that was coached by Matt Eberflus, right? Like that team going into November was a bad team. They had a halfway decent start, and then they just fell apart at the end. The Bears are going to be better. The Lions taking a step back. Minnesota's probably going to take a step back. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Probably going to take a step back. That division's going to be up in the air. And the difference is going to be your locker room, the stuff that's on the inside, the stuff that we as fans don't get to see, that we're not privy to. And Aaron Rodgers is going to be, as we know, the guy that he is, more than likely a cancer in your locker room. It doesn't matter what locker room he's in. If you go to a new team, you have to ingratiate yourself to this new team, and he's going to want to go on his ayahuasca trips. He's going to want to go to Egypt. He's going to want to go into his dark hole and do all kinds of stuff in there. Not the same hole that Jerry Jones has with the glory, but a dark hole where you don't see anything. And this is the thing that strikes me as so odd with what you get out of Aaron Rodgers with like the whole ayahuasca thing, right? It's supposed to be this ego death. Have you ever seen the ego of Aaron Rodgers die? Have you ever seen that? No, it's Green Bay's not good enough, but I am. So let's get rid of these guys and then trade me over to the Jets so that I can resurrect that franchise, and I'm going to be the savior of the franchise. And it never happened. I got through a single episode of that stupid-ass Enigma show, sorry, Roku, of that ridiculous Enigma show that he had over on Netflix, and it was almost like you were watching an episode of The Office where he would say something, and then he would cut to the camera, right? So he's like, oh, yeah, no, like, I know I outwork everybody. Where it was just so overproduced to make Aaron Rodgers look like he was something that he's not. You paid $37 million for this guy to go into your stadium and shit the bed. Again, my apologies, Roku, but that's what happened with Aaron Rodgers. He failed as a quarterback with a solid enough team around him. I assure you that the Jets are going to be better this season than they were last year, and they have more pieces that they lost. They've lost Devontae Adams. They've lost Aaron Rodgers. And I assure you that they are going to be a better team. Or maybe, just maybe, I really hate Aaron Rodgers. Woof. But again, like that's the I guess part that we're looking at here with a bunch of like free agency, right? Who still needs what? Who still has what that they can do? I like Justin Fields. I genuinely do like Justin Fields. Tommy Canazza saying, crap the bed, Mike. Come on, be a professional. I saw 10 viewers just disappear whenever I said the other word, Tommy. So maybe you're right. I have to remember it's 8:00 in the morning. This is a family show. And I assure that I have said the worst things anyone's child has ever heard. Okay, so I want to look at the quarterbacks that have been signed, right? Sam Darnold going over to Seattle. Is Seattle in an actual rebuild? They've been spending a ton of money, right? DeMarcus Lawrence coming out and saying, oh my goodness, I was never going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas, so I'm here now. I get what you're trying to do. It's just a dumb thing to do. You're not going to win a Super Bowl in Seattle either because that team is not going to be good. You don't lose the pieces that you lost and expect to be exponentially better. Sam Darnold getting his money, though, $100 million contract. None of us could have seen Sam Darnold getting $100 million. If I had told you at the beginning of the last season that Sam Darnold was going to win 14 games for the Minnesota Vikings and that he was going to leave in free agency and get $100 million, everyone would have laughed me out of the place. I would have laughed myself out of the place. I would have asked to have been thrown into an asylum and to never be heard from again. But Sam Darnold does it. Some way, somehow, Sam Darnold does it. 3 years, $100 million. I like Justin Fields. I never understood why Justin Fields was getting the knock that he got. In Chicago, there was no talent around him. In Pittsburgh, I want to say he won 3 of 4, or was it 4 of 5? I'm trying to remember what it was. But it's not like he was a terrible quarterback. I think now that you have Garrett Wilson that you can throw the ball to, you can rely on Breece Hall. I feel like that's an upgrade for Justin Fields. And I think with the Jets, I can see this team winning 9 to 11 games, being a force to be reckoned with in that AFC East. Again, I think Miami's going to take a step back. The Patriots might take a step forward. We got to see what happens with the Buffalo Bills. Tommy Canazza saying, me too. I like Fields. I don't understand why the Bears decided to move on. They should have just used that pick they spent on a quarterback last year and got Fields help instead. It's hard for me to say that I disagree with that aspect of it, right? Like, I feel like both of them needed a change of scenery. I think the same thing with Trevor Lawrence, right? Like, I like Trevor Lawrence. You can see the talent that Trevor Lawrence has. Maybe if he's on a different team, maybe it works out for him. But right now, and it's crazy to say this, Trevor Lawrence is looking like a bust. For a number 1 overall pick to go this way, it kind of feels like a bust. Justin Fields, to me, the best thing he could have done was get out of Chicago because Chicago didn't want him. Like that. That's what we have to remember is Chicago didn't want him. Very few people are willing to do the self-inventory of looking inside, looking around the whole team and saying, oh, wow, Chicago didn't really have anything to help Justin Fields get better, right? Like the same thing with Sam Darnold. Whenever Sam Darnold was with the Jets didn't have anybody for Sam Darnold to throw the damn ball to. Whenever he goes to Carolina didn't have anybody for him to throw the ball to. It seemed like there was always some sort of issue surrounding talent that was surrounding him. Justin Fields goes to Pittsburgh. Obviously isn't the type of quarterback that Russell Wilson is, so it's not like they were spreading the field, but he's more of a threat with his legs. I think he's an accurate quarterback. Like he's a solid, good enough quarterback, Justin Fields is. Now you get him a number 1 receiver who's not insane like George Pickens. Now he's got Garrett Wilson. I think a better running game with Breece Hall in the background. Like that's a slight upgrade over what you had in Najee Harris. Maybe the offensive line is going to get a little better. Like, I feel like the Jets with Justin Fields has more upside than the Jets did with Aaron Rodgers, as insane as that sounds. But I like Justin Fields. I didn't whenever he was in college. I don't know what the reasoning was, but I like him. But like now as a pro, I'm like, okay, I see something there. I can see something there. Tommy Canazza saying, I thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be an all-time great coming out of college. I was so wrong on that one. I remember wanting the Cowboys to tank for Sunshine. Sunshine. You can rub that hair all you want. It ain't going to grow back. I'm the same. I'm not ready to give up on Trevor Lawrence, man. I just think it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Like everything. I saw a meme the other day, and it's how funny the like memes can kind of, I guess, make it seem like it's a reflection of real life, right? Sometimes memes can do that. But it was a picture of Tony Khan, son of Shad Khan. Shad Khan owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it was talking about AEW, which is a wrestling promotion, the number 2, maybe, wrestling promotion that's out there behind the WWE, and how it has just tanked over the last 5 years since its inception. Came out white hot. That's kind of fallen to the wayside, right? And I remember messaging my friends back saying everything they touch turns to crap, referring to the Khan family. Maybe that's just what it is. Get Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine, get him out of Jacksonville, send him anywhere, and maybe, just maybe, there's a little more success. I was really surprised, really, really, really surprised that the Vegas Raiders didn't try to make a trade for him, that another team out there didn't try to make a trade for him. I don't want to see Trevor Lawrence go to waste in Jacksonville, because everything that happens in Jacksonville, you touch it, it turns to crap. I touch this microphone, it would just be a huge turd sitting in front of me that I'm talking into. That's what happens in Jacksonville. Doesn't matter how gold it is, it's going to wind up being a turd at the end of the day. I don't know why Jacksonville is catching strays from me today, but you know what? You deserved it. You're wasting Trevor Lawrence. I'm not ready to give up on it. I genuinely, I'm not. They have a bad offensive line. They don't have a lot of weapons. They spend a lot of money, but somehow don't have anything to show for it. Like they spend money. It's kind of like your body, right? Like, I know I should probably eat a salad, but instead of buying a salad, I'm a big fat ass, and I go out and I buy 5 or 6 burgers, and I say to myself, this is going to fill the void in my heart that was left from years and years of trauma, so let me just eat this damn thing and wash it back with a beer instead of eating a salad and some water. I'm spending a lot of money, but it's not getting me what I need. I am, in turn, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This cup has now turned to a big pile of crap. And I'm just happy drinking it. A lot of self-realization going on today on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. Shout out to everyone that has tuned into the show. I appreciate that. Once again, Instagram, I don't know if you're making comments. I made a comment on Instagram just to see if it was working, and it didn't show up. So now it's on me. I got to try to figure all this stuff out. Or maybe it's just, when you try to rely too much on the internet, that's what happens. I would like that. I didn't think about that. I would like that. Tommy Cananza saying Trevor Lawrence going to the Steelers. I would like that. I think that would be a phenomenal pick for Trevor Lawrence. What's up, buddy?
May I have a number?
Yes. Shout out to Jinder making his debut on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, asking if he can have a granola bar. Of course. Look at that. My son eats healthier than I do. That's why y'all should be on YouTube. I agree 100%. I think what I'm going to try to do, Tommy, is I'm introducing the show over on Instagram. I already kind of consolidated a little bit on Facebook. It's all going to wind up going over to YouTube and National Streaming Sports. It's just easier for me. If I can do that. Tommy Canazza saying, what's up to Jinder? What's up, little dude? As soon as the show is done, they're getting dressed. We're heading over to the zoo today. Last week of spring break, we are doing it up big. We're going to be going over to the zoo and seeing all the fun stuff that's out there. I have the year pass to the zoo. I love it. I think it pays for itself just time and time again. Especially whenever you have young kids like that, Tommy. I think your kids are a little older than mine, but like I got a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old. They still love going to the zoo. Hell, I'm 41 and I'm like the person that's right there. It's like that meme with the monkey. It's like, oh, look, there's a penguin. That's how I am. I'm 41 years old. So maybe the zoo just never grows old. But I would love to see Trevor Lawrence on the Steelers. I know that that's going to come off as odd to people because I absolutely hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I can see the talent that's there. And I wouldn't be surprised. I guess I would be. But if I heard rumors about the Steelers trying to do a package of trading some first-round picks, maybe even like a whole package of picks to Jacksonville to be able to get Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't be mad at that. Like I genuinely, I wouldn't be mad at that. And I think of the same thing too, right? Like if Trevor Lawrence was on the Jets, that's a completely different team. Hell, I even think with Malik Neighbors, if Trevor Lawrence was on the Giants, it would be probably bad, but not as bad, right? Like again, it's still a turd sandwich. It's just not soggy. I think it'll never happen, but if Trevor Lawrence was on the Tennessee Titans, we're talking about that team as not just a playoff contending team, but that team would be dominating the AFC South, especially with what they're going to be working on now. Tommy Cananza saying his kids went back to school today. That's always the worst. It is absolutely the worst whenever the kids have to go back. Tommy Cananza saying his youngest is 12, but he's got grandkids. Jesus. Let me see. If Jericho has a kid at 18 years old, I would be 47. I don't think that I'm ready to be a grandparent at 47. Like, I feel like grandparent has to be late 50s. So shout out to all y'all that are in your 40s that have that title. I would not be able to. I'm about to put out the video today. I was surprised I didn't get any feedback on this. I actually dyed my beard. Not a lot of white right here. My friends over at Cleverman, they sent me over, or Cleverman, they sent me over a whole package to dye my beard, and my beard looks just like it always does because I have really dark hair whenever it actually grows. And I dyed my beard. I sat there and I thought to myself, that's going to be my future. Tommy Cananza explaining it all to me. Mike, that's the reason why I fell asleep at 9 o'clock. I'm a grandpa. I get it now. Tommy, I hope that you go to bed like you have a candle, like the candlestick holder. You have a nightcap and like a gown similar to that of like what I imagine Greg Popovich goes to bed in. And Tommy's saying he became a grandpa at 38. That's awesome, my dude. Congrats on that. Obviously, like, whenever it happens, I will be elated. I just don't think that me thinking about it, like planning out for the future, that's not something I want to do. And I'm not one of these people that like I care so much about age or anything like that. I embrace the fact that I'm 41. I never thought that I would make it to 41. I tried to do a lot of things to ensure that I wouldn't make it to 41. But you know what? I'm here and we're making the best of it. And I think I might just continue doing the beard thing, right? The white hairs in the beard, and I have to pick a struggle. If I can't grow hair, then the beard can't be white, right? It's one of those things I talk about all the time, especially with dumb people, right? Like if you're dumb, it's okay to be dumb. Just don't be mean. You cannot be both dumb and mean. You have to pick your struggle. So if you're going to be mean, be smart. The last thing people need on this show is life advice from Michael Tipton. I don't think that's going to work out for anybody. Tommy Cananza saying that being a grandpa is the greatest. I do romanticize that. I do tend to think of myself as like the grandpa. Like I spoil the hell out of my kids. I can imagine what I'm going to do as a grandfather, where it's going to wind up being like, oh, okay, well, here's all the candy and all the chocolate and all the sugary drinks you can possibly have. And I am going to ensure that whenever your parents pick you up, that you are just on a level of, I was going to say Jerry Jones-esque blow, and I probably shouldn't say that, but that you are on the same level of my guy JJ whenever he's on a yacht. Like, I feel like that's where we got to be. And then give them back to their parents. Tommy's saying he's 41. His oldest is 24. Dude, that's awesome. There's a part of me like, I see my son, right? He just surpassed his mother in height. Jericho did. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what the future is going to be for both of them, right? And maybe it's just me being, dad mode all the time. And I sit back and I think to myself, I cannot wait to see what they do as they get older in life. But I also want it to slow down because I want to enjoy these moments to the best of my ability. Thus the reason why we're going to get dressed in a couple of minutes. We're going to head to the El Paso Zoo, and I'm going to enjoy this little bit of time we get together. We're also going to get ready for Gender to start baseball again, so we got to start working on the throws and all that good stuff. Jericho's going to help out with that, and it's going to be a phenomenal time. What a way to end the show. All right, everybody. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. It's been a fun time, a fun conversation. We're going to continue. I think what I'm going to do, we spoke about the NFC North. We're going to break down divisions now that we've already gotten through the first wave of free agency. We're going to break down divisions, and we're going to see what teams need to do in the draft. Now that we have free agency behind us and teams have addressed needs, yes, even the Dallas Cowboys have addressed their needs. Now we can go through and find out what the teams need to do in the upcoming draft. I put in my application yesterday to be going hopefully to Green Bay to cover the NFL draft. My guy Brandon the Iceman Cone would be coming with me if we go out there to Green Bay. Also, maybe early part of April, I might be going to LA to help cover the United States women's national team. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, later on this month, I'll be heading over to Phoenix with my guy Danny Hoban as we talk about opening day for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Tommy asking what division is next. I started with the NFC North, so that means I got to go with the AFC North. And I think there's a ton of really good storylines there with the AFC North. So tomorrow we're talking the AFC North. All right, everybody, once again, thank you so much. Without y'all, I wouldn't be able to do this. Please support the people that support this show and stick by for this message from BetUSA or BetUS and from RevAutoCarCare.com. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. It's out there, but don't be fooled. Some sites are legal in some states only. Some sites pay in Bitcoin, and some sites have even been hacked. However, BetUS has been in business for over 30 years. They have future bets that are paying out in the thousands, and there's still time for you to bet on the Super Bowl, the National Championship, and even the NBA Championship. Just use the QR code right here, and it'll take you to the BetUS site. BetUS. Check it out and bet responsibly. Are you a fellow car guy? I have a 2008 Ford Mustang GT convertible, and nothing makes me happier in that car than when it's nice and clean. And you know who helps me get there? RevAutoCarCare.com. They help me get that pony looking as nice and shiny and ready for any of the car meetups that are all around the great city of El Paso. Spoil your car and go to RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton and view all the inventory they have and find out what works for you to help make your ride shine. RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton. Use promo code Tipton33 at checkout to save 15%.